Our planet is a mysterious and sometimes scary place. All around the world we have multiple sites that a lot of people find creepy and prefer to avoid at all costs. In today's video I'm going to tell you about some of the scariest places on Earth. Let's get started. The Island of the Dolls. In the south of Mexico City, there is a very creepy island where you can find dozens and dozens of dolls. It does not sound creepy before you actually see what it looks like. According to legend, the person who put all these dolls on this island was Don Julian Santana Barrera. It is believed that Barrera was mentally ill. He divorced his wife and moved to this island. Shortly after moving there, he started decorating this island with dolls, sometimes damaged and dirty. I guess his intention was not to make it creepy on purpose, but since he was not super rich and could not afford many brand new dolls, he had to collect them after other people threw them away. There are two different explanations for why Barrera started doing it, rational and paranormal. Let's start with the rational one. Many people believe that his passion for collecting dolls could be related to his mental illness. Possibly those dolls had some special meaning for Barrera that other people simply couldn't understand. On the other hand, some people believe that the real story of this island is a lot more creepy. According to the legend, once Barrera saw a little girl drowning in the water next to his island. He tried to save her, but unfortunately it was too late. This girl passed away and Barrera could never forgive himself for not being able to save her. On the next day, he saw a doll in the water in the same spot where he found that girl. He picked it up and hung it on the tree as a memory of that girl. The next day, it happened again. He found another doll in the same exact spot. Therefore, locals believe that Barrera started collecting dolls and hanging them around the island as a gesture of respect to that girl. He passed away in 2001 and many people believe that he actually got killed by the spirit who lives in the water surrounding his island. Pripyat. On April 26, 1986, reactor number 4 of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant exploded and caused one of the biggest nuclear disasters in human history. Approximately 5 million people were affected by the radiation release. As a result of this explosion, multiple people were temporarily relocated from affected areas for at least a few months to avoid radiation exposure. However, a lot of cities in close proximity to the explosion were abandoned permanently. In some cases, it might take decades, if not hundreds of years before people can come back to those cities. As a result, a Chernobyl exclusion zone was formed. Pripyat is the largest city in that exclusion zone, and right before the disaster, approximately 45,000 people lived there. Nowadays, this place looks extremely creepy. It feels like it is frozen in time because nothing really changed there since the explosion. While being evacuated, people were not allowed to take any of their belongings because it was affected by radiation. Therefore, if you go there, you can find many artifacts of the past that normally people would just throw away. As a result, this place became an exotic tourist attraction. Personally, I would not recommend going there even after almost 40 years since it happened. There are multiple precautions that tourists have to follow in order to be allowed into Pripyat. For example, you have to wear a long sleeve shirt or jacket and pants, pretty much cover your skin as much as possible. Additionally, you need to sign paperwork to confirm that you won't sue the Chernobyl administration if something happens to you. Also, there are multiple creepy legends surrounding these place. Some people believe that radiation from the explosion turned a lot of local animals into mutants and scary monsters. There is even a famous computer game called Stalker that takes place in the Chernobyl area and features a lot of those scary creatures. This game is quite old, but I still highly recommend checking it out if you want to dive into the scary world of Chernobyl exclusion zone. Considering everything I told you about Pripyat, I think it's still quite dangerous to go there, but it's up to you. Hoia-Baciu Forest. Romania is famous for its scary folklore. For example, according to Dracula's lore, he lives in a secluded castle in Transylvania, Romania. While almost everyone knows about Dracula, not a lot of people heard about Hoia-Baciu Forest. This forest, also known as the Bermuda Triangle of Romania, is located in the same place as Dracula's castle, Transylvania, Romania. Just by simply looking at the images of these forests, you can already feel that there is something wrong with it. As you can see, some of the trees resemble human-like figures. At the same time, the density of plants is extremely high and it prevents sunlight from getting through. All these factors contribute to Hoia-Baciu Forest's creepy image. Locals have multiple urban legends associated with this scary place. For instance, many people believe that one girl went to this forest and got lost. However, she appeared in her village 5 years later without any memories of where she was for such a long period. What's even more strange, she was wearing the same exact clothes and her age didn't change. Therefore, some local people believe that this forest might cause time distortions. For example, the time that you spent in this forest might pass much faster or slower than it is expected. Another popular urban legend claims that this forest is full of portals to other dimensions. For instance, locals believe that one shepherd stepped into one of those portals and disappeared forever. You might be wondering why so many people report these creepy stories about this one specific forest. On the one hand, we can just simply assume that this forest is a magical place and everything that happens there is purely paranormal. On the other hand, as rational people, we can try to find a logical explanation. Some researchers investigated this forest and concluded that you can observe abnormal levels of radiation caused by uranium. This interesting aspect could potentially explain why some people had headaches and felt bad after spending some time there. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. You can either justify what's going on there using science, or you can believe that some aspects of our life can be explained so easily. The Catacombs of Paris. The Catacombs of Paris, also known as the world's largest grave, is a 200-mile-long series of catacombs in Paris, France. A huge part of the tunnels underneath Paris served as a limestone quarries. Later, these tunnels had some other purposes, including being an enormously big graveyard. At the end of the 18th century, Paris faced a cemetery crisis and had to move the remains of people's bodies to prevent health hazards. Moreover, they ran out of space and didn't know what to do with the bodies of people who recently passed away. Therefore, Parisians decided to move body remains from old cemeteries to the catacombs underneath Paris. As a result, a part of the Catacombs of Paris became a huge ossuary containing the remains of approximately 6 million people. Nowadays, this place is a famous tourist attraction and you can even go on a guided tour. However, most likely this tour will be pretty scary. The walls of those catacombs will be covered by thousands of real bones and skulls. Already sounds quite scary, right? I think it's really important to mention that the Catacombs of Paris are very important to French history. For example, during the French Revolution, revolutionaries used them as a refuge. At the same time, it was a place of meeting of different secret societies. It's not surprising that this place had a lot of urban legends associated with it. Some people report seeing ghosts there, while others claim that there is a secret society in these tunnels that conducts experiments with the Philosopher's Stone, a stone that can transform non-precious metals into gold. While it sounds like a product of someone's imagination, who knows, maybe it's true. Nagoro, Japan. Very often, young people move from rural areas to big cities in search of economic opportunities. This little village of Nagoro in Shikoku, Japan is an example of such depopulated communities. However, the total number of residents doesn't change dramatically over time because old residents are replaced with the new ones. The only detail is that those new residents are life-size dolls. A local artist, Ayano Tsukimi, decided to fight depopulation by creating doll copies of former residents, people who either passed away or moved somewhere else. The first doll that Tsukimi created was a doll of her father after he passed away. Later, she decided to create dolls for every former resident of Nagoro. She created those dolls very meticulously and tried to capture every single feature and detail of the person that it represents. What's even more interesting is that she doesn't stack up those dolls in one place, but puts them around the town to recreate scenes from everyday life. As you might imagine, walking around Nagoro is a very strange and surreal experience. There are approximately 400 residents and only 27 of them are real humans, with the youngest resident over the age of 50. I don't want to even imagine what would be the reaction of a person who got into this village without knowing the context of what's going on there. I believe that these dolls make such a strong impression because of their huge number and their similarity to human beings. Each doll is crafted very carefully and with a lot of attention to detail. Even though this art project was intended as a symbol of the struggle of depopulated rural communities, some visitors report having a completely different impression. If you have ever been to Nagoro, please let me know in the comment section. I really want to know if it's actually scary or not. Thank you so much for watching my video, I hope you enjoyed it. Please hit the like button and let me know what you think about this video in the comment section. I'm planning to make more similar videos in the future, so please subscribe to my channel. Again, thank you so much for watching my video and stay safe.